Hey G, they make it beat. Take a session and the Tim Wexel Bob Show. Welcome to the program. It's episode 78 of the program. But I would tell you what, bud. See, okay, let's cut it out. Whoa, my voice sounds nice and hoarse. It sounds hoarser than usual because I've been smoking cigarettes. Speaking of that, let's light another one. Do you mind if I light up in it? Hey, can you smoke it here? This is not a smoke-free studio. We don't give a shit about that. That's only for people that don't use their studio for actual cool shit. The only reason people care about having a smoke-free studio is if they're a failed studio. Because they don't have cool enough people in it to damage their microphones. And they plan on selling them at some point. You think the Beatles didn't smoke a little weed or cigarette? I don't know if they smoked the F words. I don't know if they smoked that many cigarettes in the studio, but come on. They definitely were smoking tons of weed. They were blowing some kind of smoke into the goddamn microphone grills because it was a real studio. And Abbey Road isn't going to be like, this was using a smoke-free studio. Because that'd be the lamest selling point. And this microphone is going to be known as the worst of the microphones. Oh, it's already lit. It's already lit. What am I doing? What am I thinking? You don't have to relight it. I don't even know how to smoke these things. I know how to ruin microphone. This is a cool studio. I don't give a crap if it makes the microphone a little worse in 20 years. It's not even going to do, it's not even going to be a noticeable. So the point is, I've been smoking a lot of cigarettes, these things. It's not really a cigarette. It looks like one, so people approach me as if I'm smoking a cigarette. They go, hey, can I have one? Or hey, can I get a puff of that? And I get all the benefits of being a smoker without any of the downsides. You see? I don't gotta share them. When people see me smoking one of these babies on the corner, and they go, hey, can I get a puff off that? I just go, it's CBD, so if you're a loser, if you're a lame-o, then sure, but since it's just for decoration, no, it's a CBD cigarette. It's just to pass time. It doesn't give you a buzz. It's not addictive, except for if you're addicted to looking cool. It just kills time. It's just something to do to pass the time when you're on the street corner waiting for a tow truck for 3 hours, because there's no tow trucks in Austin, apparently, unless you go through the right connections. You need a connection just to get a tow truck. And then they cancel on you. They barely know where they're going. They don't give you the time of day, and then they just cancel like an Uber driver. It's like, okay, thank you. I'll just leave my car here then. I guess I'll just leave my car in the middle of an intersection because they decided they'd rather go to some guy. So anyway, tow trucks. We are recording. We're going to get through this podcast episode by covering a bunch of different topics. We're going to start off with this topic, hosting an open mic. I hosted an open mic. Only one cigarette for this entire podcast. I only had the fortitude or foresight to be like, to not realize that I would want more than one of these things. These things are addictive. I love these things, man. I kind of want to chain smoke. Oh, nah, we're fine. We're not going to set up the fire alarm. I mean, that'd be possible, I guess, but it's unlikely. It hasn't happened yet. Anyway, so I hosted an open mic earlier in the evening. That was my only thing that I did outside of the house this whole past week, except for Monday. I guess we could talk about Monday, where somebody from Chicago hit me up and say, hey, I'm in town tonight only, so want to meet at an open mic? And I was like, sure. And then I actually did, and it was fun. And that's just an excuse to go out. You know, and otherwise, I wouldn't have gone in. I wouldn't have even thought about going out if people didn't ask me to. If people don't ask me to do something outside of the house, we're in the future. You don't gotta go outside to do anything except for old-timey things like performing like stand-up comedy, or that's an old-fashioned, old-timey hobby or anything, career, whatever you want, whatever it is. It's old-fashioned. You can just do it, shit like that online. Like, just yell at the camera. I mean, what do you gotta do it in front of people for? But anyway, so I don't really... It's fun, but like for me to drive 20 miles just to do that? Nah, not gonna do it on my own volition. But if somebody asks me to, somebody asks Timmy Gusto to do it, yeah, he'll show up, he'll smoke one of these on stage or, off stage. So who cares? I've been staying in a lot. That's the point. I've been staying in, and it's probably a good thing because when I go out, that's when, what are you going to gain by going out? Nothing. You can only go downhill. Sure, there's something to be said about not wasting your life and like building friendships to begin with, let alone relationship. You don't even have to go out to do that. Why the hell? I miss when everything was not even supposed to be outside. I miss the Zoom days. I like Zoom because if you don't like somebody if somebody's giving you a hard time and you're just not comfortable around somebody, you just press a button and you're back to being alone. I mean, it's awkward to just leave like that, but it's better than real life. Anyway, so I haven't been going out, and I'm justified in my, I still have a little bit of that, like, I hate that I don't have anything going on outside of the house. It is, like, depressing and, like, harsh on my soul and spirit. So I don't like it. I'm not saying I like it. It's pretty bad to stay in all the time and just not communicate with anybody all week. And then by the time you do have to talk to somebody, you have to learn how to do it again. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. It's like, oh great, I gotta learn how to talk without looking like a complete psycho. So anyway, I went out on Monday and Friday, I hosted an open mic. And I like, for some reason, even though I wasn't getting paid or anything, what did I get out of it? I still got something out of it. It's like to prove that I can do it. Where's my cigarette? It's not just to prove that I could do it. It's like a thing where it's like, hey, it's something. It feels like community service. That's what hosting an open mic feels like. Because even if you are getting paid, it's never really about the money. Even if you're getting paid a good money to host an open mic, you ain't doing it for the money. You're doing it for the exercise and to see if you could give something back to the community. I don't know. So I like the challenge of okay, let's see if I could host an open mic without my opinion of myself being harmed in the process. Let's see if I could get through this job without having my ego bruised. That's the challenge. So to do that, I have to, of course, take psychedelic mushrooms before even thinking about going to the damn open. So yeah, you gotta be in a good mindset, not a good mood just like the right mindset or attitude. You have to have an adjusted attitude. Adjusted. You can't go in there with your natural attitude to host it. Are you kidding me? Now you gotta take heavy narcotics that are scheduled. You gotta take Schedule 1 narcotics to properly host an open mic. Not alcohol. That's not a schedule. That's like not even illegal. No. So anyway, that's the first step, and then you gotta go in there and just don't make it about you, I guess. The only thing bad that happened that I'm gonna like remember from it that was bad. It was good. It wasn't a bad open. I did fine. I was very like selfless, but I still did my 10 minutes at the top of the program of the show. I did my 10 minutes of rambling because, and that counts as a set. Like I don't give a crap if what it looks like. It was a set, but it was I always do a solid 10 minutes at the beginning because then I won't feel the need to interject in between comic sets. Then I could just give it right back in between comics, not take up time, because I already did more time than anybody. So that's my payment, is being able to do a short podcast, 10-minute podcast for comics. And then as soon as I feel like I've wasted enough of their time, then I start it off, and then the next comic, who knows how they'll do. But I was in the right, whatever. It was fine for me and pleasurable to do that. So that's why I do. So never mind the money or whatever. So the only thing that happened was a couple things that rubbed me in a way, that rubbed my ego in a way, the wrong way. But whatever. I'm getting better at handling these narcissistic injuries. And the first one didn't even bug me until I got home. This guy who's pretty cool. He's definitely cool. He's a cool guy. He's new at comedy. I could see the potential. He'll definitely be funny if he doesn't quit. He seems like a comic at heart. So I'm not saying nothing bad about him. I just don't like the way he thought the mic was bad when it was actually, in terms of mics, pretty good. I got them warmed up enough where it was on him. Everybody in the crowd, except for one person or two, was a comic, but they were all quietly, politely engaged with what we were doing. So for him to go up there, this guy, for him to go up there after I sweetened up the pot, I made it so easy for it. I held his hand like a deer, a baby deer, a fawn, like I'm saving a fawn from oncoming traffic. I took him by a little hand, and I gently guided him onto the stage, and sure, I could have given him a nicer intro other than that he's cool. I don't remember what I said. What do you say for open micers? That's why it was tough for me to get through these. I kept getting stifled by the intro of giving for open micers because I didn't really have much. I didn't know that many of them enough to be like, this guy, here's his credits in a nutshell. Nobody really had credits who showed up. So it's like, okay, this guy, next, okay, start clapping for this guy. Give it up for this. And there's this weird pause where it's like, okay, I got nothing to say for this guy either. Here's another guy that I got nothing to say about. And I'm not going to make fun of them because that's not what I'm doing tonight. I'm not that kind of comic or open mic host where I just roast people, especially afterwards. Roasting comics after they get off stage is the most easy, losery thing to do as a host. of an open mic, it shows that you want to get a laugh, and you want to get, because you're insecure as the host, so you do it the easiest way you can. Just make fun of the guy that just went up, and you have the last word because you are the. That's the hackiest thing to do. It could be funny, but that's, I'm saying hack as in easy. Duh. I like to get a laugh by saying something unfunny and not mean. That's why it's funny, because of how unfunny it. I just go, hey, it was a pleasure watching you do that set, and that's it. That's how I transition. I was so absurdly nice. So that's the first thing that happened, is this guy went up, who I like, but just after thinking about it, and then he leaves. He always goes up like first and then leaves right after his set, maybe one or two after he stays. I didn't leave right at, but he left, and I like this guy, so I was like, okay, so he's leaving, fine. But then as I was thinking about it, it's not that he left, it's that he shat on the room that I procured. I put my heart into procuring a room. I set up the room in a way that took effort and experience, So for him to go up there and be like, this mic is incredibly bad. Like, he didn't say that. He just said this mic. It's like, dude, you just got on stage and you're already just blaming the room for you not knowing how to work this great room, which was, relative to most open mics, a pretty good, fucking easy room. It was not that hard to kill in this room, because they were cool, because I said it was a good atmosphere, even though I think just the thing that's jarring about it is how quiet it is. There's no background sounds. There's no, like, AC. So you hear a pin drop. But so what? That makes makes it easier for them to hear the nuance of what you're doing. It's more sensitive to what you could. Sure, you could bomb very effectively. You could bomb beautifully in a silent room that everybody's just quietly listening, no chatter, nothing. You're not talking over nothing. So they could either hear you bomb perfectly or hear your jokes perfectly. So that's an opportunity to see if your jokes are good. Anyway, that's one thing that kind of, it's like, okay, that guy's, he just knew, and he's just kind of like doing something that makes me kind of like go like, oh, I don't like that you're that you're like talking shit about something that I am responsible for. I took it as a slight. It's a slight. Not really. It's, but it just it's just like, dude, no, you just suck. The room is great. So anyway, that was the first thing. Then somebody like yanked the microphone out of my hand as I was introducing them. Like, they couldn't wait 2 seconds for me to like say their name. So they yanked the microphone out of my stand, and that pissed me. I mean, of course that is annoying. But I let it slide, and I handled it in a way that didn't ruin the vibe. Because, of course, if I was really laying down the whip, or I would just, like, turn off the mic. I would just, like, play music over him and be like, nope, you ain't going up. I could have just been a complete, nightmare about it. I could be like, well, if you're gonna yank the mic out of my hand, you're not even gonna do a set. I'm just gonna be like, nope. But that'd be kind of overplaying it a little. I didn't do no. I just let it happen. It got a laugh, and I was like, okay, whatever. And they kind of made a noise like, ugh, to make it seem like it was harsh of him to just yank the. So like I could tell that they were on my side. So I didn't need to demand, and I need to point it out. But then I did point it out. Whatever. I was like, I didn't like that you took the mic out of it, but whatever. It was fine. It wasn't. I didn't. It didn't ruin the vibe. So I was just like, whatever. somebody wants to make fun of me or, yank the mic out, it's like, okay, yeah, it's not pleasant. It's not like, doesn't make me like them. But am I going to use that? Am I going to take that as a chance to show that I have a big ego? Or like, show that, I don't know. I don't know. I just like, yeah, who cares? Who gives a shit? There's a way to like work those moments out without being serious. You could have a sense of humor about it. You don't have to lose anybody by being like, how fucking dare you? This is my microphone. You don't fucking take it out of my hand. Like, it's so easy to lose people when you do that. So I let it slide, and who cares? There's somebody from doesn't even live here, so he probably just thought, yeah, fuck this guy. Whatever. Who cares? Stoicism. I don't know. It's got like sometimes just inaction is the best course of action. Like if somebody says something to you and you got nothing good to say back, you can just not say anything. And you don't gotta be like, oh yeah, that's stupid what you just said. I'm kind of trying to be non-confrontational. In these post-drinking, boring-ass times of my, I like to talk shit. I like to ruffle feathers, but not in a way that's not earnest. That's like bottom feeding, like hack. I don't like to ruffle feathers in a hack way. If I'm gonna do that, I don't even think I want to even do that. Ruffle feathers. No, I want to do something funny that is funny to as many people as possible. I guess that's what I'm leaning into these days, because I feel like that's cool in a not, it's not cool to be generic and for everybody. Oh, no, it's cool because it's not cool. It's commercial. It's appealing to me to be like, oh, he's family friendly. Because if you can be family friendly, that is kind of cool. I hate to say it because it's going against the whole hipster, like dark, edgy comedian that's like definitely not family friendly. That's like, it just got boring though. Being only for people that get off on super dark, like, why would you say that type of comedy? Which there is, I guess, some of them. There's, it works when it works. There's a way to do jokes that are like, whoa, I can't believe you said that. Yeah, it was dark and edgy, but like I've done that a bunch of times, and if it's like, okay, what am I getting? What am I trying to achieve here? Where is this gonna go? Like, I'm not gonna get anywhere, literally anywhere, except for make open micers laugh. So it's not that I don't like that type of comedy. I like it when people say stuff you're not supposed to say, and it's shocking. It just seems like, well, is that all you could? If you could do more, if you could do the harder kind, that's actually hard to do, that's not just shocking, but it actually takes like a specific voice that's honed from like decades, and you could make a simple joke kill in front of any crowd, who care, even in families, just because you've honed this voice for decades. That's more appealing to me right now. You can still be dark and curse off stage like a sailor. You could always have that persona off stage, but if you wanna, for me to really feel like I'm adding, like reaching my fullest potential, just the thought of like, hey man, I could bring my kids to this guy. That's one thing that is cool about it. As you know, now that I'm in my mid-30s, now that I have the ability to even sympathize with people with families or kids, like, yeah, that is cool to be like, oh, here's this great comedian that I like, and I could even show them to my kids. That is kind of like desirable. And also, you get way more opportunities and money if you're clean, if you're family friendly and like funny for real, like in a way that's original and honed for decades. Yeah, there'll be tons of demand for you in show business. The actual business will come knocking on your door. It's not like you have to be a pussy. You don't have to like do the woke thing and be like, I'm so, it's so cool, man. It's so cool to be, like, you don't have to virtue signal to the left or whatever. Like, you don't have to be like, I don't know. You don't gotta do even that. You could just be funny, like Brian Regan. He's just funny. Like Jim Carrey is just funny. Doesn't matter what he's talking about. Robin Williams. They're just funny. Theo Von. They don't got, it doesn't matter what topic it is. They don't got any topic. Anyway, so that's kind of something that appeals to me these days. Like, you know what? You're funny enough. I'm talking to myself. These are thoughts I have. It's like, you are funny in a generic way. In a way that does have mass appeal. I hate to say something so outrageously narcissistic, but I think it's, I mean, I've done it a long, I just know that it's true, that I'm funny in a, doesn't matter what I'm saying, it's just my persona, it's just my personality, like just the way I talk, and you know, so if you're just funny in that, like, hey, look at me, I'm just funny, I'm just a funny weirdo. If you could hone that into something for, you know, that's an act and for everybody, why the hell not? Why the hell would you regret that? Oh, I should have been edgier so I could get paid, so I could have no success. I mean, because you could always be edgy on podcasts. Nobody listens to podcasts. No, who cares? Yeah, some people listen to them, but you're not the majority. Anyway, I mean, the people that see you in commercials or TV shows, they ain't gonna listen to your podcast. Who cares? Who gives a crap if you are dark and edgy off camera? As long as you're not doing anything creepy. Anyways, that's enough on that topic. I'm becoming less of like a kid kind, like I'm trying to not act like so like instant reaction, like don't like, oh, I gotta react immediately. Who gives a crap? If somebody does something that rubs me the wrong way, that feeling of like being wronged, it goes away after literally a minute or two. At least the initial shock of it, that initial like adrenaline of like, oh, that guy just slighted, oh, I gotta do something to show that he just slighted, that goes away after like a minute, maybe 2 minutes. And then after that, yeah, you still resent them and you maybe want to bring it up later, but then at least you're doing it more with your prefrontal. Then you're, you know, then you might actually do it in a way that's more adult. You know, maybe you don't do, maybe who cares? Just let it go. Sure, then just talk, you know, just talk about it on a podcast. That's what I do. And now I don't really give a crap anymore because I talked about it on a podcast. Anyways, that was hosting the open mic. We got that out of the way. It only took 8 hours. Only half an hour into this thing. And we only covered one main topic, whatever. I'm a talker. That's why I don't need guests. I would just be like, that's cool. No, I would have guests. It just comes down to being very bad at communicating with people. Like, you know, we'll get more, and just laziness of like setting up another chair and making sure that they're in the shot in focus. It's very intimate, sitting right next to somebody and be like, okay, now it's my time to talk. Okay, now you're talking. Cool. Well, here's what I gotta say to make the. Yeah, it's like, you don't need it. But so anyway, I hosted on my. So anyway, this is boring. It's not that interesting because I already thought of I was like. So anyway, I'll just talk about it because I guess that's kind of the whole point of what I had to talk about. That's all that happened. Is this car accident. I got into a minor, I don't know if you'd call it a fender bender. I think the other person thought it was a fender bender because they took off. I think they got it in their heads that just because I waved at them, that meant they thought they could just drive away. They waved at me and then I waved back to show, yep, I'm the guy that you just hit. So that's all I'm doing right here. That's all I'm doing. It's like, okay, yep, that's me. I didn't do this. I was not in like a confrontational. I was pissed, but I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm not gonna like run across the intersection and chase them down like I almost did. Okay, so I got out of this minor car accident, which was this is a nuisance. Like I'm okay. No, nothing got hurt. Nothing. I didn't break anything except for my heart. My heart is broken because my Miata is an extension of my soul. That car is the best car I've ever owned. And I've owned 3 so far. I bought them all in 1 year, and one has survived, the Miata, and now it's at a tow yard where it's not where, anyway, it doesn't belong there. So they sideswept me as I was turning on Red River, a very busy part of the town, probably the busiest intersection. And on a Friday night, it takes forever to just get to that intersection. And when you're finally there, it's like, okay, I'm ready to. But then I got stuck there. Now I had to stay in that extremely busy area for hours, as they drove right into my car, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm getting hit. That's a bad sound. I guess I'm making contact with somebody else's car. Wasn't me. I was just taking the right turn in the farthest right lane. So anyway, they didn't see me. I don't think. It was this big ass SUV. I don't think they could see my tiny little Miata. So they scraped up against the driver's side, and they just kind of, took a left turn, stopped, got out of their car, looked at me, gave me a wave, and then they just took off. They just left. They just left me there, assuming that they had done no wrong, I guess, or maybe they just saw that it was a Miata. They're like, well, I don't want to. I can't afford that. My insurance can't cover a Miata. Anyway, these guys are not very good drivers, or the smartest, best people to come across. But that's Austin. I wasn't surprised that it happened. Of course, I was like, yeah, I can't believe I've never been in an accident. I can't believe, like, every time I get home from driving in Austin, I've never gotten over this feeling of like, wow, so nothing happened. I didn't collide with anybody. I had the thought even today as I was driving into town. I can't believe, like, I've never killed anybody driving. Let alone somebody killing me. I've never killed anybody. And then I was, I'm not the best driver, but compared to other people in Austin, I feel like a Formula One racer. I feel like I could be a stunt driver compared to these people. I could be like a private driver for James Bond compared to the most people in Austin. I could be on Schedule 1 drugs and still be better than most drivers. So anyway, this was the final, so I lasted about a year and a half with the Miata, not getting into any accidents, and so somebody scraped up against it and took off. Hit and run is a strong label. I'm calling it a soft hit and run because I don't think they know that they caused damage. I think they just thought that it was just a fender bender, but even so, you're kind of supposed to at least give them your insurance, right? I mean, you're supposed to at least check. You don't just look at them from across the intersection 40 feet away. You just go, bye. I mean, that's worse than a hit and run. They actually said bye. That's even more insulting than just not saying anything. Don't say anything if you're going to do something like that. Just adds insult to injury. Bye. We're going now. Here's what we look like. And I was holding my camera. I was filming them. I have no, I mean, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. I know that they ain't here no more. I got pixels of them on my phone, but I didn't really zoom in, I just knew, my instincts kind of took over. I was in a super chill mood because I had just finished my community service of hosting an open mic for an hour, 2 hours. Probably didn't last more than, it was an hour and a half probably, of community service. So I felt like I had just given back to the world, and now the world loved me for a few minutes. So I was not angry. I was at peace. I was still in a hectic situation. I was like, holy crap, I gotta, that, getting off I-35 to get to 6th Street can be pretty difficult. You gotta really make sure because you gotta go from the left lane to the right lane, and it's not that easy, and you could also easily rear end somebody going off the highway in this very tiny little exit that gives you 2 feet to slow down. But so I was like, damn, that's pretty these are some close calls that I'm getting into, so I can't be surprised. I wasn't. That somebody sideswept me. I was like, finally. I was like, okay, so I'm not living in a simulation. Of course somebody would sidesweep me. All it takes is enough. Of course. So anyway, my instincts kind of took over. I was just pissed that somebody damaged, scraped up my car. And I just honked for about 5 seconds maybe. Nothing excessive. It's enough for the people around me to realize that I was pissed and that I was gonna stay exactly where that something happened. So anyway, I just left the car on. I was right on the corner of this big intersection. So I got out of there. I assessed that I could tell that the vehicle was janked up. The wheel was totally at a twisted angle. The axle was all messed up. So I was like, yeah. And then somebody told me, no, that's not gonna drive. I don't know. Somebody was like, no, that ain't driving. I probably would have tried driving it to a better spot than where I left it for 3 hours. But I was like, nah, it's not gonna fucking go anywhere. The wheel was totally, one of the wheels was at a 90-degree angle, so it's not going anywhere. So anyway. So I camped out. I was like, well, they're gone. They might, if they come back, whatever. I did my best to film them. I mean, at first I was going to kind of get closer to them to get their license plate, but I would have had to cross the intersection diagonally. So I was like, well, come on. You're not going to run into traffic just to get their license plate. Just the iPhone, it'll get it maybe. I don't think it, I just didn't really feel like I needed to get a justice. I need to take justice on it. I didn't really, it's okay. If they come back, if they give me their insurance, great. If they don't, I got uninsured motorist insurance. And so anyway, you just gotta pay the deductible. So anyway, so I left the car there. And I got out. I turned it. I kept the flashers on, And I just was like, well, I guess I gotta get it towed. The thought of calling the police didn't even occur to me until I tried to get roadside assistance through my insurance app. I was like, okay, I need roadside assistance. So I used my app on my insurance. And they said, did you get into an accident? I was like, yeah, wasn't on purpose. Yeah. And it just said, no, you can't get roadside assistance. You got to call the police. If there is an insurance claim that involves another person, we're not just going to take the car away from the scene. No, you need to call the police. I was like, oh, okay. So I was just standing there. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'll call 911. Whoopee. So, this was probably about 40 minutes after it happened. After I was standing there for like 40 minutes waiting for this other, through Mazda, I'd use the roadside assistance, so I had a request for that. That's the first thing I did. And I was like, this is taking forever. Come on, how long do I got to stand here with this car just right there, blocking traffic? So I called 911. And they picked up immediately. Like, fire? What do you need? Police? Fire? Medical? And so I was very happy, at least they picked up. Because I heard, so they picked up immediately after the first ring. I was like, police. I need the policia. And I nailed the 911 call. They're like, I don't remember. All I remember is they were like, you got your headlights on? And I was like, headlights? No. I got my flashers on. They're like, yeah, no, I said flashers. I was like, oh yeah, flashers. I got my flashers on. They're like, nah. I don't know. For some reason, it made me feel like I was smart because I misheard them. And I was like, no, I don't got my headlights on. I got my flashers. They're like, no, yeah, that's what I said. Flashers. Good. I don't know. So I handled it. They were like, okay, are you blocking traffic? I was like, yeah. Yeah, I'm blocking traffic. If that's what you need to hear to send the cops, of course, they wouldn't have sent any. They didn't. Long story short, they didn't send the cops. They were like, yeah, they'll be there. Hours went by. They didn't show up, even though I said I was blocking traffic. Hours of me just standing next to this disabled car that doesn't look that disabled. You couldn't really see the damage because it was only on one side with one wheel well. And the only thing that looked messed up about it was that the wheel was like super jutted out. It was at an extreme angle. And the other one was straight. So only one wheel was totally twisted up. So it was not drivable. But everything, is leaking some kind of fluid. I don't know. It was leaking something. So I just stood there by this thing right where people were trying to turn for hours, just watching people just slowly realize that thing ain't moving. It's like there's nobody in there, and the hazards are on, and it ain't going. So I was just standing there getting mild amusement out of the looks on people's faces. Like, did that guy really just park his car there? And most of them got it. Most of them, after maybe, 30 seconds to a minute at the most, they're like, okay, I think that car's not going anywhere. And then they went. But a couple people really couldn't wrap their head around the fact that maybe the reason it's not moving is because it got hit by another car. They just couldn't wrap their head around. It just didn't enter their mind. So, like, at one point, and maybe I'll put the video in here because I took video of it, somebody just laid on their horn while looking at me when I was outside the car. They knew it was my car, I guess, because I think they knew me from stand-up. I think it was a comedian, because they were looking at me and the car and just laying on their horn and just looking at me like, yeah, I know you. That's your car. I'm honking. And I was just like, yeah, thank you for honking. So I just like filmed them to like get evidence of like, in case something even crazy. Because when somebody's acting crazy, as a very small person, what do? The best defense is to just document it. You know, just, okay, well, this guy's acting crazy and irrational, like whatever the word is, where they're unpredictable. So I'm just going to film them. And it took them a long time to like kind of get the memo that honking wasn't the solution to this bridge, you know, this boulder in the road. Like, yeah, you know, I know that you're not supposed to park there. Lay it out here, you know, a noise isn't, even if I was that dumb, if I was that dumb to leave my car there, you think honking is gonna like change my mind? It's like, oh, that's a loud noise. Maybe I'm not supposed to park. Like, I've made either, I mean, of course, nobody, like, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. I don't fucking know. So they thought I was just parking there. They thought that I was like, yeah, I'm just going to park right here. I'm just going to park right in the intersection. Like, and just stand next to the car. Not go anywhere. Just stand next to it. It's like, so it just didn't occur to them that maybe there's a reason I was standing next to my car with the hazards on. Like, maybe I wasn't just kind of, you know, chilling out. Anyway, so that was fun. That was amusing to me. I did it, so many, just hearing people like, oh, there's nobody. Why is there a car there? Well, I don't get, why would somebody just leave their car? And then some people were thinking that it was on purpose. And they're like, look at this guy. He's like, yeah, I'll just leave my car here. It's like, yeah, no, it's not because I'm like a douchebag who thinks you could just leave. Turns out I did, and I could have just left my car there for 3 hours with the hazards on, and nothing would have happened. Nothing would have happened. Maybe something would have happened, but I was there, so maybe that helped. You know, just being like 6 feet away from it is probably why nothing happened to it. Nobody, like, you know, banged on it or, you know, got angry and, you know, threw anything at it. But other than that, nothing happened. Nobody called the cops. Maybe they did, but they didn't show up. I called them myself. I was looking for cops. Come on. Nothing happened. So turns out you can just leave your car in the middle of an intersection almost for 3 hours. But anyway, because nothing happened. No tow trucks, no police, and it was getting late. I got there at 11. I got struck right at, you know, around 11. So I was like, okay, I got 3 hours until everything closes down. And I was like, as long as something happens in 3 hours, then I could at least maybe go somewhere, say hi to somebody, get something out of this. Nope. It went all the way until 2 a.m., like 1:57 is when I finally was able to walk away from that stupid situation. That's the exact time that I was able to finally give my key to the tow guy and say, okay, bye. I'm going back to my life. Let's see if I can start the next chapter of my life now after this. So forever. So I called the police and called the 911 at, like, you know, 11:40, something like that, yeah. And then it was 1 a.m., no cops, no tow truck. I requested multiple tow trucks. One of them canceled, and then one just said, no, we can't come until tomorrow. And then one was coming all the way from San Antonio. It's like, oh, that's convenient. It's really good quality roadside assistance we got here. Mazda. So by the time they were 10 minutes away, I had already contacted the APD police, APD. And they got me a tow truck, and they gave me a police. I actually was able to get a police report by not by calling the cops, by going up to them on 6th. I just walked down the block. I was like, well, okay, if I left it this long, I think I can start just strolling down the street. I'll look back behind me to see if anything's going, if I see any sirens. So I walked down 6th Street and found, all the cops just posted up where they are on Lavaca, Nuichis, whatever it's called. And I was just like, okay, you gotta approach them in a way that doesn't freak them out, Can't just be like, hey, yo, motherfuckers, I need some police, bitch. Yo, help me out. You gotta do your goddamn job, you lazy. Can't do that. But you can't even do anything that would make them flinch. So I just walked up to them, very casual, very smooth, and but kept my distance, and just tried to make eye contact with one of them or all of them. And I was just like, hey, can I bother one of you? Hey, can I bother one? Like, yo, can I file a report? I got into an accident. Can I file a report? So they actually was like, yeah, I guess technically that's kind of what that's what we're supposed to do if something happens. So so I got the report. They asked me who the other people were, what race they were. I was like, oh, that's still how they do it, huh? Well, this is my favorite part of the night, where I get to talk about the race of people who did something wrong. That's my favorite thing. My favorite thing about being alive. So anyway, I told them which type of race they were. I can only really do it for one of them. One of them I just kind of guessed. It was like, she's probably did I say, no, I said Hispanic. Probably Hispanic for the first one, if I had to guess, just based on the amount of makeup, the darkness, just like black makeup, heavy set. I was like, I'm just guessing Latina or Hispanic. Could have been just regular white gothic chick. Who the hell knows? And then the other guy was definitely Asian. And so what more do you need to really hear? It's a stereotype that, So he was like, oh, well then, okay, well then clearly it's not your fault. That's all I need to hear. So anyway, but he took that down and whatever. He took all my information, and I just think it's amazing that I was actually able to get a police report for such a big deal. Anyway, so I got that, and they said, well, we can try to maybe. He said this in a way that was like, yeah, you're definitely not gonna do this, but thank you for the lip service. Look at the cameras in the intersection, which they have. I was like, yeah, the cameras all over the place. That'd be cool. I'm not expecting you to actually do that. He was like, yeah, if we find their license plate, we'll let you know. If we actually bothered to do something, like, why would we? They're not going to do that. They're not going to take the time out of their day to do research, to try to solve a low crime, mild hitting. Nobody was hurt. They ain't looking at no cameras. But maybe my insurance company will be able to wedge them to do some. Who the hell? I don't know how insurance companies deal with the police, if they do at all. But the evidence that I have is not that clear of here's the license plate, boom, bada bang. But the best part about the approaching the cops part, or at least one of the most interesting parts that's kind of almost disappointing, is I was kind of hoping that they would be more coppy. I was hoping that they would be treating me like a criminal a little bit. Nah. They treated me like a regular person. They gave me the full benefit of the doubt. They didn't ask me if I was drinking nothing. They didn't do nothing that a regular, that like like how you are used to being treated around cops. Even anytime I've had an interaction with a cop, usually it's like, have you had anything to drink? Can I point this in your eye? What do you got there? Hey, let me see your hands. Whoa there, buddy. What are you like? They just didn't do that at all. It was like talking to like my barber. It was like, yeah, take a little off the sides. Yeah, look on those cameras if you don't mind. Yeah, they were Hispanic, you know, Asian. Just a standard Asian guy. It's like, yeah, okay. That's it. They didn't ask me if I was drink. They didn't put any of the blame on me, except he did say, well, maybe when you waved at them, maybe they took that as like everything's okay. It's like, and I was like, fuck, that's not cool. If you think if you're gonna not look at the camera, if you're not gonna go after these guys just because I waved at them, then I'm not happy with that. So I was like, hell no. It was clear as day. But other than that, they didn't put any of the blame. They didn't like act suspicious at all. And maybe it's because I wasn't acting suspicious. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because compared to most people on 6th Street on a Friday evening, I was the most clear-spoken person they've ever met. So anyway, that was my interaction with the APD. They gave me this cute little written up piece of notepad paper, which doesn't matter. You don't need to see what's written on there. It just says the officer's name and badge number and the case number. I actually got a case number, and it's a long number. We're in the millions here. There's a lot of crime, unsolved crime in Austin. Okay, here's your case number. At least I got one. Can't just be like, well, I don't have a case number. Sorry. No, I got a case number for this this unsolved crime. Okay, so that's about it. Hope, I made the claim of insurance. Hopefully they give me like a nice, even better Miata. Hopefully I profit off of this in some way. Hopefully it's not just like a loss. So they finally towed the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Finally towed it. And as I was just hanging out on this street corner, a lot of weird, I had to like dodge a lot of weird people. A lot of people just saying goofy things. Like, hey, your car? Like, yeah. Why'd you park there? Like, yeah, why'd I park there? Yeah, I parked there. Anyway, it wasn't that bad. And then somebody was nice enough to stand next to me, and like, who couldn't speak any English. He could understand a lot of English, but he couldn't speak any of it. He was like, maybe we push it? Maybe we push that sucker? I was like, nah, probably can't push it. But anyway, so it was nice, and he stood by me for like a long-ass time. And I gave him a little bit of cash to get some tacos. But I was like, you coming back, right? He's like, what? I don't speak English. I was like, never mind. You don't have to come back. You stood here for a long. I just liked having somebody that was like bigger than me to protect me. That's what I said. You protect me. I give you money. Capiche? Anyway, but he was cool. You left. And so another time, and something that helped me out with enjoy the hanging out, just standing there for 3 hours, just like, okay, cops, tow truck, either one would be nice at some point before 4 a.m. would be great. I'm standing there smoking a fake CBD cigarette, and some ladies in a car, like these drunk ladies who get stuck behind my car, but then realize that, they go around because they're not idiot. they yell at me. One of them yells at me, "Hey, my friend has a crush on you. She has a big crush on you." And I go, "Oh, does she know that's my car?" And then she was in the front seat, the one she was talking about, I guess. I was like, "Hey." I immediately went into game mode. I was like, okay, this is my chance. Okay. I was thrown such an easy thing here. Somebody's saying they got to cry. Come on, man. Don't fuck it up. So I was like, hey, I know I don't have much time to impress you. Or, but does she know that this is my car? What do you think of my car? Because they didn't know it was busted up. It looked fine. They're like, oh, I like it. Like, damn right, that's my car. Yeah, the one that's broken. The one that's blocking traffic. Yeah. So where you going? What are you doing? But they drove away by that point. But I thought, I handled it in a way that was like, I could, what else was I supposed to do? Be like, yeah, get out of the car. Oh, she's like, you have a crush on me? What am I going to do? So I handled, I did my best to take what was given to me with the resources I had at my disposal, which was my car. It was right there. I was like, hey, do you like it? So anyway, that boosted my confidence for about boosted my confidence for like a nice solid chunk of time. And then, time went by, and somebody else came up to me. He's like, hey, man. So they ran off, huh? I was like, and then he called the cops, like, yeah, they don't come for nothing, man. We saw somebody bleeding out the other night, and they didn't send no cops. So, shit happens, man. You'll get over it. And I was like, I'm fine. I know you don't gotta tell me nothing about getting over it and how it's not that big of a deal because, hey, I'm happy. I'm hanging out, completely unbothered by my circumstances, not complaining about nothing, just stating the fact. You're telling me, hey, calm down, relax, man. Things could be way worse, man. Stop, get a hold of yours. Like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? Nobody's crying here. Do you see me crying? I don't know. That's it. So anyway, that covers everything. And then when the tow I was getting testy, man. I was so testy by this point. And when the tow guy finally came, I wasn't angry or mad or nothing, but I was very, testy. He was like, what happened? Did you drive into the curb? I was like, hey, immediately. I was like, no. I'm not a bad driver. I said that but I was kidding. I said it with a smile. I was like, hell no, it wasn't me. You think I drove into the you think I'm that bad at driving that I got myself into this? Hell no. But no, it wasn't bad. He didn't take it bad or nothing. But then another guy strolled past me. He was like, hey, you've been here for a minute. You're the same guy. You've been here for a minute. I was like, yeah, no crap, because I can't move the damn thing. I got a hit. I don't know. So I immediately, but I was also kidding. I was just being that aggressive, but yeah, I'm just fucking around. But he was a stranger. So he didn't know what the fuck was going. He just kept on walking. I was like, oh, that's right. Strangers probably can't just be yell at strangers. Be like, what the? Yeah, of course I beg McCain. Whatever, man. Who gives a shit? I didn't get stabbed. All cops look the same, too. I went up to one of them. He was like, yeah, follow me. And then I got caught up, and I met up with these other cops. And then he just started walking away, and without telling me to keep following him. So I was like, was that the guy? Am I supposed to follow that guy? And then the other guy's like, yo, yeah, follow that guy. I was like, okay, now I know, because I don't fucking know if I was supposed to. Y'all look the same. Oh, it's that guy with orange. There's another guy, white dude with orange hair or whatever, redhead. But I didn't mind. They were good, they were fine. Nothing bad to say about the police. So the problem is they didn't show up when I called because they was like, fuck that. Gotta go up to them. So anyway, that's about it. And then tow truck drivers also all look the same. When this guy showed up, I was like, he kind of looks like the guy that towed my Tesla a year ago. When that thing just randomly stopped working on the highway, this guy was like, is that the same tow truck? But, so crypto's down. Let's get out of here on this subject. As I'm going about my night, standing around, waiting for tow trucks, I got notifications in my email that buy orders were being executed, limit orders for Ethereum that I set weeks ago. So I was like, oh, okay, there's some price movement in crypto. So Bitcoin is down, I don't know, 5% since I started recording, and Ether is down a good percentage. It's been pretty damn stable, and now it got dipped down to where I am purchasing. My buy orders are being executed in the low 1700s. That is pretty cheap, I think, for Ethereum. Never mind this whole SEC suing Binance, Coinbase. You can't sue crypto out of existence. You could certainly hurt the market by suing, like going after these huge exchanges. Because when Binance, I got an email, Binance US shutting down all banks. You can no longer use a bank for Binance US, so that's a huge blow. So I get why it's going down. But Ethereum has potential to easily go back up to its all-time high, go up to like 5K. I'm not too worried about Ethereum, Ether going down much more, because the more it goes down, the better deal it becomes, and the buy pressure goes up. People like me who see the future, we're going to be scooping up cheap Ethereum, a deflationary token that gets burned regularly, and it's going down in supply. Yeah, I want more of that. So I wasn't too upset that my buy orders got executed. It's a little nerve-wracking when the crypto market goes down that quickly in that short amount of time. It's been so flat. I got so used to the boring flatness. But when I get a nice cheap deal on Ethereum, I keep calling it's Ether. ETH. It can only go down so much, man. Because when everything's dropping, when the market is dropping, any market, stocks, whatever, go back 7 months, 8 months. Literally January of this year, all the tech stocks were completely in the shitter. Were people buying? Yes, people like me were buying. Facebook, Nvidia, Apple. All these major tech stocks that are now greatly back to where they were. They're very high right now. They're at their all-time high pretty much. Some of them are killing it. Like Facebook's coming back. Tesla's coming back. Apple. Obviously, Nvidia is amazing. And why was nobody talking about it when it was down? Because just because something's down doesn't mean people get excited because they feel like, oh, it's going to keep, the uncertainty kills that optimism of like, well, it's cheap compared to where it was. It's down 70%. Hey, maybe it's a good time to buy tech stocks. That's what smart people are thinking. Yeah, they're thinking that. But even they still have this thing in their bodies telling them, in their gut, it's like, Yeah, but we don't know where just because it's cheap now, it could keep going down. Like that, when everything's going down, you think it's gonna go down more. Just like when everything's going up, you think it's gonna go up forever. Well, that's a stupid psychological fallacy. And you gotta you gotta rely on trusting the fundamentals and not just go by sentient. Sentient can help. It's great, but go the opposite of sentient. Don't go with it, go against. Go with the fundamentals. Go against the sentiment. If everybody's selling, that's when you buy. If everybody's buying, you should have already bought before that, when they were afraid, when they didn't know that it was the right time. The right time to buy NVIDIA was when it was cheaper, not now. Now when everybody's like, oh, it's going to jump it again. Well, I guess we should buy it. No, you already missed out. What are you doing? At the all-time high is when that's why you don't trade on zombie, in that first gut. You go against that bullshit. So anyway, we made it through the end of this. It's been a fun episode, and we made it. Have a good week. This has been episode 78 of the Tim Vasselbaum Show.